Welcome to today's Upgrade webinar. My name is Asia, and I'll be here today with my colleagues, and we will walk you through a very dense agenda. It's a lot of content we want to cover. The topic of upgrades was touched upon in the previous webinar, where we all talked about it as part of the 15.2 release. And today we wanted to just cover some things in a bit more detail, as we believe that there is useful information that and useful developments that we have done in the last couple of weeks that you all will be interested to hear. So apart from just covering a couple of topics around how to best position an upgrade within your organization and why an upgrade is important, we will also walk you through some of the tooling, some of the resources that we have created to help you streamline upgrades and make them more efficient. We'll share with you some of our recent success stories of companies that have upgraded, and I have some of the best practices, so very excited to be able to share that with you. And then we will also leave enough time at the end to answer some of the questions. I just wanted to start with a couple of things just for you, especially for those of you who won't be able to stay with us until the end. The 4 key takeaways you will walk away with after these 60 minutes. So some of it was already indicated in the emails that you have been getting from us and from the sales teams, but I just wanted to reiterate once again. So for those of you who are on 13.3 LTS version, and I think it's a whole bunch of you who are on that version, just wanted to make sure that you have read and have understood that Sitefinity 13.3 LTS sunset phase has been extended with 1 year until April 2026, which is, we have decided to do that because we know of some of the challenges you all are struggling with to upgrade. Hence, we wanted to have more time to plan for successful upgrades, to get the resources that you need through your partner, through our professional services team, and to get as smooth as an upgrade as possible. We'll cover that a little bit more when we talk about the migration strategies and paths a bit later in the session. Another important item to just reiterate on, and I think all of you are aware, but we just wanted to recap on that. So web forms, so technology that a lot of you have used since the very early days of Sitefinity. Web forms was officially deprecated in 2022, and we know that customers are still using it. However, with 13.3 LTS, which has 1 more year, but with it ending next year in April, it means that web forms will no longer be supported in Sitefinity. So that's the last and the only version that officially, where web forms can officially be used and can be supported through our support team. So just wanted to recap on that. So we'll cover again in a minute what the strategies are for you to plan for a successful transition to a newer and more modern technology such as ASP.NET Core or Next.js. Number 3. That is probably the most exciting part about this webinar, and I think everybody in the team get pretty excited when we talk about the new migration assistance tool, which has just been made available to help all of you with the streamlining the upgrade process. And Peter Filipov will cover in a lot of detail what this migration tool is about and how you can leverage it in your upgrade process. And then the last item, again, towards the end of the webinar, we also have some ideas how for you to best and to start planning for your upgrade. But one thing we wanted to, we will offer on our end is a professional services package that we have designed for those of you who already want to plan upgrading to 15.2 and then also 15.4 when it comes out later in the year. So we'll cover that aspect as well. So why upgrading? Couple of areas: efficiency, competitiveness, and risk management. 3 of the key reasons we see across our customer base and also coming from our partners as a feedback. But I want to start with the one which I think is the most important one to just get right, and it's related with the risks and what the potential risks are of running outdated software. And what I wanted to say here is, like, I won't go through every single one of these. I'm sure that there is enough technical competence across all of you to basically know what the risks are. But the fact that a certain version may not be vulnerable at the moment, and we as a team have done, I believe, a good job in patching versions, fixing security, um, issues and vulnerabilities that we all have been very diligent about communicating. However, the fact that a certain version is currently not vulnerable doesn't mean that it won't be. So, and the best action here is to make sure that you are on the latest version, to make sure that you get the support, you get the knowledge from our teams of how to handle such scenarios. And that's only possible if you guys are on supported version and can take advantage from the know-how that Progress can offer. So other than security issues and challenges, and the support, even compatibility issues, like features that we release at a certain time in newer versions don't work. Like web forms is a huge topic that we'll cover. Compliance risks, performance bottlenecks. So we'll cover that very extensively. What are the performance challenges if you stay on unsupported versions? And basically, what's the gain if you move off of unsupported versions to something that's more modern and performs better? And I think other than those risks, there are also actually great opportunities that we gain from upgrades. So the next couple of slides we actually borrowed from our own Progress operations. And I'm not sure if you know, but all of the Progress websites run on Sitefinity. So it's, I think, traffic that goes in the millions per month. So it's a pretty substantial organization that we need to handle on Sitefinity. Sitefinity, we make sure to upgrade and to always keep up with the latest versions. But we do that because we have been challenged by some substantial inefficiencies in the past. And to be able to illustrate that, I just wanted to give you an example of what the scale is at a company such as Progress. And probably some of you are also working in similar environments. So if you look at the content management complexity that your marketing teams and your web management teams need to deal with, anything from like a substantial number of content updates on monthly basis, it can range from 500 to 5,000. The support tickets that come in to just basically support issues with the website, even if you think of formatting, probably broken links, publishing errors, a lot of these things sometimes just come and appear due to being on unsupported versions and not keeping along with the latest and greatest. Design requests, like all the things you need to keep up with just at the scale, it just looks terrifying. And that's our reality today. And then not just that, but if you look at what the opportunity, for example, from a customer data perspective, and all of the silos that if you are on older versions of Sitefinity, you are not able to overcome, because we have released features in later versions that can help, especially with integrating with customer data sources to get all of your CRM analytics, customer service, ERP data, and so on, to streamline some of these processes. So that is only possible if you keep up. And it's not just that Sitefinity is evolving. I think the whole environment is evolving, and that's the whole point of it. And that's why the opportunity is bigger, because our users are changing, their demands are changing. Even what happens in terms of how users consume content, the fact that everybody expects content to be served across channels, to be served on the devices that they are on, to be responsive, to be fast, like not to forget about that. So these are all demands that we see customers come to us and ask if we can help them meet these demands. And as Sitefinity gets better, it helps basically solve these needs in a lot more efficient, in a lot more solid way. And the ultimate goal for all of us here is to help you gain a competitive edge, because that's what's happening these days in the marketplace, is that competition is getting harder by the day. A competitor with a better website, with a faster website, with a nicer website can just gain some business just because of these reasons. It's something you should not be missing out on. And another important area that we'll talk about today is AI. So you may have, if you've been keeping in touch with us in recent webinars, we have covered that in, I think, 15.0, 15.1, and 15.2, but there has been a lot of AI features that have been released since version 15. And again, here I provided an example from our own marketing operations at Progress. some of the things that a content editor, a product marketer like me would do on a daily basis, writing a blog post, posting a webinar, creating a news item, creating a landing page. And before the features we have introduced with generative AI in Sitefinity, these are the times that you see on the screen that it would take to do such an activity. However, with AI, I think what I have tried to calculate this just in recent days to just tell you from experience how much more faster we are. And I think I'm at least twice as fast as I used to be, thanks to these features in Sitefinity. The time for posting a blog post, something as simple as that. I think we have had a total of probably over 120 new features that have been released. And then I think also lots of improvements. And we know that we have gained some very positive and some very good feedback, even on platforms like G2, in terms of the fact that the Sitefinity platform gets better with every release. I just don't want you to miss out on, and we'll send you information where you can read more about it. But since version 14 and 15, like this is a combined list of all the features. Just to start with the Gen AI that we just mentioned, and Gen AI, not just in terms of what you can do in the editor, in Sitefinity, while generating content, which we'll just show you in a minute how it works, but also what else Gen AI enables in Sitefinity. For example, in terms of SEO, or even in terms of search. The improved search with Elastic and Azure that gets closer to what, with every release, to what people expect from a search in a CMS. All the enhancements for content editors, layout, copy and paste, the more efficient content management with enhanced templates, section control. Basically, what we have been trying to do is to help marketers gain back some of the control when creating content, when updating pages, when managing their experiences. And then some of the more technical aspect of the improvements in Sitefinity, the match their flexibility since version 14, and when we introduced Sitefinity ASP.NET Core, and then now with version 15.2 when we introduced Next.js. So these are two technologies that provide developers with tremendous flexibility in terms of developing websites and applications and portals, if you wish. Digital asset management and overall connectivity in Sitefinity, something we will also mention quickly, the integration hub that's also been released in product line 15, and the opportunity that it gives customers to connect with over 1,000 different third-party systems and systems of record. Customer data tools for marketers, all of the updates and enhancements you'll be getting when you are on a recent version in your Sitefinity Insight. And I think one item at the end, which I personally love because it has helped us improve our internal operations, is the new Sitefinity dashboard, a customizable dashboard that just gives you anything that you need in one screen and makes everything easy for marketers and administrators. And we'll be talking a lot about AI today, but I just wanted to make sure that you all are aware that since version 15, we have released a wealth of new AI features for content creators, content editors, to generate content with AI in Sitefinity, in the content editor. And John, if you would like to just walk us through some of the goodies that you personally like in AI in Sitefinity.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously had a ton of features that we could particularly cover in a very brief demo. You know, as Asya and I talked about this is one of her favorite features. It's absolutely one of my most favorite features. But out of the box with Sitefinity versions 15 and beyond, we've now introduced generative AI. So these are prompt-based content generation tools. So starting going from left to right, we have predefined, albeit modifiable prompts, right? So we can generate content, summarize content, classify content, personalize content. We can also improve writing of content as well. We have no code custom actions. So what does this mean? Well, behind the scenes, you can create a prompt. You can ask authors and editors to fill out a certain set of fields, and then we can tell, hey, or we can basically write what we're asking AI to do. And I'm going to show you one of these examples. And this example is SEO. So I have the content on the page or the content in the content block, and I say, hey, write me my search engine optimization summary. and keep it under 150 characters. So these are kind of custom prompts that you could do, but you could do more than that. You could predefine your audiences. You could set up persona information in there. You can do really anything that your heart desires. And then lastly, coupled with generative AI and large language models, we're not going to get any more technical than that. That's chat GPT style stuff, right? We can build even better and more broader content creation aspects. So for example, we want to create a module in Sitefinity called content campaign. We can then take a few set of fields in there. We can hit publish. We can send it through our integration hub, which is going to allow me to drag and drop functionality. Ask ChatGPT to generate me a news article, have it create me an image, create that content back in Sitefinity, create a landing page to go along. I mean, the possibilities are quite endless, and you can do all this with a no-code operation. So for now, let's go ahead and jump quickly into a demonstration of some of our generative AI features. Let's quickly write a news article together, right? I've already opened the news article. Again, this is not an all-encompassing demonstration. We're really going to focus in on the generative AI. Anywhere a content block lives in Sitefinity, you can use this particular feature. So if you have a content block on a page, you can use it. In fact, even personalized content. If you have your own content types, blog posts, well, that's out of the box too, but you've created your own content types that have a rich text editing field, you can now use the Gen AI field. Just as a disclaimer here, this is using Azure OpenAI. You can create your own model. For our cloud customers, we have an add-on package that you could add to your Sitefinity cloud offering as well. First and foremost, let's compose some new text. As I told you earlier, it's just really prompt-based. So I need some key points. So you guys don't have to watch me miserably type out a bunch of stuff. We're gonna have a community event, customer appreciation type of thing. We wanna write a news article about it. We're going to define our audience. Again, you can try different factors in here. You can obviously generate it. If we don't like it, we can regenerate it, right? So we're going to give an audience. I'm going to do families, customers, and friends, right? Again, these are the people who I'm interested in talking to. And what is my tone? Well, if you guys have ever heard me talk before, I'm always excited to talk about Sitefinity features. So we're going to be excited today. How long should it be? Let's go with 500 words. And let's go ahead and compose some new content. Now, keep in mind, there's still human interaction here. I have to approve this. I mean, you can also see it's also generated a couple of placeholders for me, which I might, as a content editor, want to enter my own dates of information. So we obviously want to put the date, the time, and the location, which it knew the location, which is my restaurant, Coriander Lane, in Burlington, Massachusetts, right? If I don't like it, I could compose it again. I could copy it. Maybe I wanted to use it somewhere else, or for the sake of the demo today, we'll go ahead and insert it. And you can see it even had some nice formatting to it. I'm not going to go through and format stuff, but if we do highlight this, we can quickly see that was an H2. Maybe we really wanted it as an H1. That's fine and great. Maybe I also borrow this for the title as well. From there, the rest of the AI features, you could summarize this content. So maybe we go ahead and do that. I'm going to use the same keywords, but you can by all means change them to be a bit more pointed for the topics that you want to do. But this time, the words are only going to be 50. What am I going to do with this summary? I can copy it from here. I could copy it from the bottom, whatever we want. I'm going to use it for the summary of my news articles. Okay. Now, I have this approval workflow process here. Again, not a new feature of Sitefinity, but I can't even go live with this because I'm still missing some stuff. And I ran into some other problems, right? One, I'm missing an image. Two, my SEO description is too long. Here to save me is my custom prompt. I call it custom because I don't really have a better word for it, but it's just a matter of creating a small configuration of what do you want to ask to do this particular feature. So summarize for SEO. And then what do you want to ask the large language model, ChatGPT or whatever it is, what do you want to ask it, right? But before I do that, there is one other feature. If you're like, well, I don't need to write new content, I already have content. Have no fear, we can improve our writing. Now, because I wrote this today, I don't necessarily feel like I need to improve it, but for content that you already have in Sitefinity as you're upgrading, maybe you'd like to change the audience format or the tone, or even the length of your content or information at the page level, or anywhere else this rich text editor lives, you can improve your writing with just a few key prompts. It uses the text on the page or the content block, and to improve it, you can obviously, redo it, do whatever you want. All right, but here for the fun activity of summarize for SEO. Again, in this case, we're going to need some keywords. What topics are we particularly talking about here? Again, based on my laziness here, I'll say I'm going to use the same keywords I've been using. But here, the beauty is that behind the scenes, I wrote the prompt already. I said, use these keywords, generate a summary for search engines, and keep it under 150 characters. Those are all key important factors, but as the author and editor, I don't need to know all those things. I just want it to do its magic, right? So we can go ahead and summarize, and just like that, we have our content and information. So we can go ahead and copy that and use it throughout the rest of the system. Now here, I'm going to use it for my search engine. This is going to copy for my Open Graph metadata as well, but I could create another prompt if I wanted to, again, speak to that audience differently, right? So behind the scenes, I could create another prompt that says, hey, create me a social media summary, right? And I could even, as part of the audience, right? So again, the possibilities are quite endless on what you can do with these particular prompts. Lastly, the other AI feature that we have available in 15.2, I believe we released, let's double check that one. Tagging was 15.2, is the generation of tags. The cool thing about this is any flat taxonomy, you can use this auto tagging feature. So that means if you created your own classifications, it'll work for those as well. In this case, I'm using the out-of-the-box tag feature, which again is a flat list of categorizations, right? And I'm going to go ahead and use AI here. A couple things happened. One, it takes all the tags that I currently have, ships it off to AI, so to speak, right? And tries to reuse tags. So again, let's start to keep our content reused, but it's also going to generate me new tags. So you can see here, this one with parentheses new, that was a new tag. I'm actually happy with all of these tags. I'm going to go ahead and use those selected items. And just like that, now we've generated an article. The only reason it took so long is because I talked through it, right? And again, you can prompt yourself to create new, fun, and exciting articles. We have one other feature we'll show you. Ashley, I'll pass it back to you to show this one last slide here. So earlier I talked about creating a type of content, right, to manage the idea of content campaigns. What we're going to use here instead, Ashley, if you can show that one slide 15 or so. It takes a second,
more time than I expected.
So I'll paint the picture while you're doing that, right? So we have a content type in Sitefinity. It's called campaign content. We ask for some information. What is this campaign about? So a brief summary or keywords or some of the similar things that we might be already doing. We then have a checkbox list. So this is, again, something we build with the module builder. I have a checkbox list of what I want to create with this content campaign. News, a blog post, maybe an image for call to action, whatever it is that you want, right? With Integration Hub and zero code, I say Integration Hub attached to the Sitefinity publishing event for this one specific type of content called campaign content, right? Every time that's published, right, we collect that information. We see, hey, I want to create a news article based on this summary or keywords or whatever you've defined. Now we automatically create a news article in whatever status that you want. In this case, we're going to use a draft status so we can review it afterwards to make sure that it's published. So what you see here on the screen is just a snapshot of a drag and drop built set of functionality through the Integration Hub. And again, this was done with 0 lines of code. And in this case, we're again using Azure OpenAI as our large language model. Sorry to get nerdy again on you. Again, we asked basically ChatGPT as part of that large language model to say, hey, generate me a news article, use this summary and keywords, and make it less than a certain number of characters if you've asked that many questions, or you could predefine it. So again, bringing together no code, low code capabilities and efficiency and productivity all together with our newest releases of Sitefinity.
That's great. And by the way, I would need your help with creating such a custom SEO action. I really like that. So I think we can take advantage from it in our own SEO. So we can't wait to do it.
Absolutely.
But do you want us to,
Yeah, save some time. Yeah, I mean, definitely. So.
So on to the as we have actually gathered today with our customers and our friends to talk about the upgrade.
Obviously, there's a lot of overwhelming aspects to it. So what we've presented to you here today, everything in green is kind of the supported timelines, if you will, for each one of the the major versions that we're talking about today. So across the top bar, these are the retired dates for these particular versions of the product. So if you're less than 13.3, you're already retired, okay? This means you're not getting patches and bug fixes. It means you're not getting high security updates, so on and so forth. That being said, for customers who are on web forms-based technology, 13.3, as Asia pointed out earlier, is our last supported version for this technology. What do you do next? Well, you potentially upgrade to 14.4, which is our current long-term supported version. You could obviously go into 15.1 and 15.2. For our customers who are using web forms, the disclaimer is that web forms still work in version 14.4, 15, 15.1, and 15.2. So hear this, they still work, but they are not supported. So if there was an incident or there was an issue after you've upgraded to a later version and you write a support ticket, it's going to be a best case kind of support scenario. They're going to obviously recommend that you upgrade to a newer technology like MVC or one of our renderers, ASP.NET Core or Next.js. So we don't particularly recommend upgrading your web forms-based components in your production site. So again, just a couple disclaimers on those particular notes. I think let's go on to the upgrade path here, or what the recommended upgrade motions are, so to speak. So as I noted on the previous slide, if you're less than 13.3, you're currently unsupported. Again, a lot of that's going to come down to potential security risks, a lot of those aspects. And those aren't necessarily Sitefinity security releases. Remember, you're using old versions of Microsoft technology as well. If you are on one of those versions, get to a long-term supported version. 13.3, 14.4, or 15.2 and beyond, right? If you're using web forms or any hybrid type forms, you know, in my opinion, it takes sort of the same level of effort to migrate to one of our renderers, Next.js or ASP.NET Core, than it would be to move to MVC, right? Because they both take a little bit of code and some effort, right? Migrating to cloud opens up some different opportunities there. So we will accept versions 13.3 into our Sitefinity Cloud platform as a service model. This then gives you one sort of high value feature, which means once you get the code in the database up there, there will be an automated upgrade process. It will run you to the current version, which happens to be 15.2. It branches your code and gets it all ready for you. You then have full control of when you'd like to accept that. You could, of course, pull it down for local changes and whatever. So we're going to help, again, gain you some efficiencies in the time it takes to upgrade by automating the process for you. The other disclaimer about 13.3 versions in Sitefinity Cloud is you basically have a year to get those upgraded to a supported version, which in this case would be 14.4 at a minimum. Customers who are on 13.3, as Asia mentioned, we're just going to double down on it. Support is extended till April of 2026. If you're on MVC, we recommend getting to the next long-term supported version. That'd be 14.4 and 15.2 and beyond. Again, there will be a 15.4 long-term supported version. If you are on web forms, migrate, same kind of process as before, consider a rebuild with one of the new technologies. I guess one thing I didn't note is you could also consider maybe migrating to our SaaS platform. Sitefinity as a service, as I like to call it, or SaaS, offers an automated upgrade process. It includes a ton of features like zone redundancy, allows you a front-end technology of your choice, Next.js and .NET Core. And in fact, you can use the integration hub to help you migrate things like structured information, news, blog posts, and whatever. But again, the disclaimer there is you'd be rebuilding your front-end technology in one of the two choices, Next.js or Core. So both of those are applicable if you are potentially on web forms or a hybrid model. You may consider using our Sitefinity as a service model or SaaS. And then lastly, if you're on 14.4 or 15, you are supported. So that's great news. And obviously you'll continue to be supported, you know, and then we will have that last long-term release, 15.4. which at this point is a minimum of support till 2030. I almost said 3030. Like we're going way on into the future. I don't even know numbers anymore. But 2030, that's so weird to say, we have minimal viable support. If you have not looked at it recently, we have updated our lifecycle policy page. I would definitely recommend that you take a look at it, look at our plans. We are publishing sort of future release plans as well. So you will see when, the anticipated timelines for 15 and beyond. So let's talk about the life cycle policy. What do these things really mean? So active means you're fully supported, right? There's public product updates. There's bi-weekly patches, functionality enhancements, bug supports, all that type of fun stuff. Sunset. So this is what we are extending for 13.3 is the sunset period. Albeit you are fully supported, only critical security or functionality are considered for a patch, okay? So again, if the security event was not of critical nature, we may or may not patch a 13.3 version of the application. And then retired, it's a best effort support case, no particular updates to it, patches, security fixes, or otherwise. If you are looking at the lifecycle policy page, it's basically the first day of that particular month. So April 1st, 2026, support would be retired for whatever version you're looking at. Some more strategy talk, right? So modernization, transition, a phased approach. So really kind of two different approaches for modernizing your site, right? Again, if you're on a web forms technology, the time is now to upgrade to a newer technology so you can maintain your support with the application, right? My best recommendation, I mean, if you're in a hybrid and you got most of your stuff done in MVC, it might make sense to use MVC. 15.4 will be a long-term supported version and will still include .NET Framework MVC. So I want to give you that hope, right? Again, till 2030. But hey, if you're looking for a redesign or you're potentially considering what the new technologies offer you, take a look at ASP.NET Core. You can do a migration in a slow fashion, meaning you could do it page by page. So find a section of pages that you're willing to update, whether you're doing a design change or not, that's kind of up to you. And you can go page by page. It's sort of an outside-in functionality. We start with a page template. We obviously design it, HTML, CSS, do that type of stuff. And then we go from there. What other widgets and components do I need to complete that particular section? Once you get through, most of your major sections, it then just becomes transitioning the widgets from one type of page to another. So one option is the slow migration, going page by page. Again, identifying the components that you want to. Spoiler alert for Peter, who will be coming next. We have tools to help you with these processes. The last type of upgrade is what I like to call the Big Bang Theory. So it's a full rebuild and upgrade. This could include a design change, but it's basically redoing the whole site. And with Sitefinity, maybe you want to consider looking at our Sitefinity cloud options. Maybe you want to consider, again, using one of our new render technologies. I highly recommend them. In fact, for any developers on the call, I find it upwards of 50% faster than any life cycle of Sitefinity. I've been doing Sitefinity. I was doing some math the other day. It's like 13 plus years, and it's the fastest development pattern that we've ever had. So a full rebuild, use multi-site, get a new site in Sitefinity Cloud, and we can migrate just content, news, blog posts, etc. Multi-site is a great capability. Again, you can reuse the content that you have, stand up the whole new infrastructure of pages, maybe go through some modernizations there, and then release that particular site. Basically switch it to default if you want. It's also a great opportunity to look at other ways of improving your particular line of business. So look at Sitefinity Insight. Can content generation help me with AI? Those types of things are great opportunities during this particular period of time. Asia's like, it's the Oscars right now, John. Your time is running out here. But no, I get in the music, so to speak. What we want to do now is talk about one of our really successful customer cases. So Asia, back to you.
Yeah, and I just wanted another moment to cover this. It's a story we just released last week, I believe, and it just fits pretty well within the approaches and strategies that Jonathan covered, and especially the first one, which is the more gradual, more phased out approach towards an upgrade, and especially not just an upgrade to a later version, but a migration to a newer and more modern technology. So USA Swimming organization, all of you on the call must know. What you may not realize, though, is that in the Summer Olympics in Paris 2024, USA Swimming had a record year, and they had a record year in terms of gold and medals that they were able to bring home. But not just that, they had a record year in terms of traffic. The interest in the sport of swimming growing by the day, and by the time that they had to start their 2024 Olympic cycle, they had so much traffic that they were just afraid how they will face the traffic peak during the Olympics with all of the millions of users visiting their website and looking for information. So, and that is the reason, that is the triggering events that made them rethink their website and how they're operating it. And because they couldn't basically plan for a full-blown rebuild the way Jonathan just described it, they decided to take the phased approach, meaning that they let the two technologies, in this case, actually they transitioned from MVC, not even from web forms, but from MVC to ASP.NET Core. So they let these two technologies coexist in Sitefinity, and then started rebuilding their website page by page, starting with the most visited pages and most converting pages first, and then gradually transitioning the rest of the pages. And what they gained with this approach is that they, first of all, they didn't have any disruption. So they were able to do it in a smooth, gradual way with the help of their partner advisors, who are a premium partner of Sitefinity. So they're one of the experts in how to do it in the most efficient way. And it was just a success. Like by the time when the Summer Olympics in Paris started, they were done. And basically what happened is that their website didn't even have a glitch during that time. So there is a quote that I love on the screen by one of the people on the team who worked on that project. And most importantly, what I just wanted to say, the fact that they experienced a record year. So just as a comparison, what they told us is that in 2024, they had double the amount of traffic compared to 2021. So basically levels of traffic that they couldn't even anticipate too much in advance that is coming. They were able to manage the traffic peaks. Everything was scalable. The fact that the front end is so fast that you can run several front end applications with one backend application basically helped them scale their experience, their digital presence throughout the most busiest times during the Olympics, with the faster load times, with the better experience, with up-to-date content and no interruptions. And I think the most important thing is that they have gained tremendous savings in terms of time spent for development. So Jonathan already indicated, and we have already also heard that from not just USA Swimming advisors, but also from other partners and customers who have done the same thing, and that they experience 30, 40, sometimes 50% faster development time with these new technologies, ASP.NET Core and Next.js. So really, really interesting case. We'll follow up with a link for all of you to read and get more details into how they did it. And now, Pepe, to you to just walk us through what the upgrade toolset is, what the team has delivered in just the last couple of weeks to help our customers streamline their upgrade process.
So what we've been working on, it's quite exciting. First, let's start with what we have already available and what usually people know about it. The first one is the Sitefinity CLI. This is actually a tool. I don't know if all of you used it, but it basically helps you to upgrade your version of Sitefinity. So you can use it, or either you can use the VSIX extension that we have in Visual Studio. So if you haven't take a look on this, we're going to give you some links to the repositories, but please use the CLI. It's going to help you fix your reference, bump the NuGet packages that you're using. We had some questions in the chat about NuGet packages and the old way of doing stuff. So we already have some materials on the website and documentation that you can use. So I think that's important. Use the CLI to upgrade the version. So the next pain point is about the technology transition, and what we want to I mean, what are the pain points that we want to resolve for you to transition from a technology like web forms or MVC to the new decoupled approach in means of ASP.NET Core or Next.js. So the biggest problems are, hey, I don't know from where to start. And that's why we introduced the Sitefinity assistance tool and the analyzer. So currently it's available, it's on GitHub. Even this morning I sent a message to a client who was very interested into looking into this tool, so they can get a sense what their project is today. For example, how many pages you have, how many templates, how many are on the web forms, on MVC, all the technologies. Those details that actually is going to provide you a way to make your strategy that John mentioned in the previous slides, where you want to go directly with all the pages, the Big Bang thing, or you want to do the gradual migration. The good stuff is that the renderers are allowing you to run pages simultaneously on the both technologies that you have, MVC, web forms, and the renderer that you choose, whether it's Next.js or .NET Core. So this type of way you can transition. What's the second phase of this? The second phase is, hey, I mean, once I have the analysis, can I do some actual things for me that is going to ease my work? And what we have found is that people, they don't want to spend a lot of time dragging and dropping pages, recreating what they have today, and let's say keeping all the properties of this page and URLs and all that stuff. It's a very kind of a manually and heavy work that needs to be done. That's why we want to extend the migration tool, and we're going to have a release in March about how we can transition those pages automatically for you. And this means, can we keep the same structure and the widgets that you're going to have out of the box to map it to the new ones. For example, if I have a block, a content block or a news widget that are out of the box, can I map it to the counterpart into the new technology? So that's very important. Also, to keep the whole page intact. It means, hey, can we change everything underlying template? Yes. Can we do the structure for us? Yes. And what about the custom code? The custom code, we cannot transition it magically, right? Because that's a development work, but we are going to create a placeholder for you where you can, I mean, once you implement it, it's going to appear on the pages and where it is placed on the way, I mean, the page is structured, preventing you of, hey, I need to go and drag and drop this widget everywhere. So this is kind of saving a lot of time. So a few timelines here so you can get a sense where we're going in terms of the release of this tool. So today we have the analyzer. So you can, and I'm going to show a few screenshots. The analyzer, you're going to look how your project is structured. The second part will be, hey, the migration manager, can I migrate my page, the structure and the widgets to the new technology so I can scaffold my work and kind of speed up the whole thing. The whole transition from web forms to .NET Core will be targeted end of March. In the middle of April, we hope that we'll be able to support also MVC to .NET Core. And later down the road, we want to have this migration manager to work for web forms MVC to Next.js. Of course, timelines can speed up or they can change. The tool is open source. Please follow the documentation. It's very easy. The analyzer is open source and the migration part of the tool will be open source as well, the migration manager. So you just plug this into your project. You don't need to install it. This is just a page. You plug it into your project and the analysis will be done. Please don't plug it on live projects in production because we are doing some heavy queries on the database. So use your development or staging server for this and follow the documentation. It's very, very kind of informative and detailed what you need to do. So a few screenshots, how does this look like? The templates, you can see how things are going here in terms of, hey, those are the templates, this is the framework, I have so many widgets on them, and yada, yada, yada. The good part is that this is open source. If you wanna kind of go and extend this, you can do it. When you click on template, you can drill down and see which template, how many pages depend on it, how many widgets are on this template, and all of this. You can see here a CLI command. There is a copy button. So in March, I mean, at the end of this March, we're going to extend the CLI to do this migration for you, the migration manager part that scaffolds the pages for you. So this command will be used. Currently, it's just there for to give you a sense how this is going to look like and it's going to work, we're currently working actually this command to make it a reality. If we go down on the next slides, we will see that you can drill down on pages. If you click on a page, you can see that, hey, this page is based on this template, those are the widgets, and you can get kind of a sense and try to make your plan how and strategy how can I transition my current project from web forms or MVC to the newer technology. The good part here, if you see, if you can, yeah, so the render component name, this column, if you see it, so this is actually the name of the component that corresponds to, I mean, those are the out-of-the-box component that corresponds to the newer technology. If you see that there is a blank here, for example, cart, that's a custom widget, it means that we cannot do anything for you. But the good part is the following: the tool is open source. So if you create your widget, your cart widget, and you implement it, and you want the tool to transition and do the mapping between properties of those widgets and place it on this specific place on the page, the tool is going to do for you. That's the whole magic of this being open source and showing you how we map widgets and how you can extend it. There are, I think, multiple options how you can continue, but I think that's the gist. And I know that we don't have much time, and I want to leave some space for questions.
We are going towards the end, so don't worry. And Peppy, thank you. It really looks easy. Even for a non-technical person like me, it looks easy. It's great interface. You've done a great job. So thank you for walking us through the migration assistance tool. If we haven't been able to convince you that you need to build the case and how to build the case for your upgrade in your organization by now, I think we have done a poor job. But I hope we are far from that. And just to wrap up this webinar, when you are building a case, when you're building a strategy of how to migrate off of legacy technology towards something new and modern, focus on the fact that it's a path. It's a path. It's not a result that will just be there like overnight. There is no magic button, unfortunately, unless you're in Sitefinity Cloud platform or a software as a service, where there is a notion of a magic button to streamline the upgrade. But for all of you who run your who self-host your Sitefinity projects, there isn't such a thing, but there's still ways and best practices that you can follow. So we'll keep you updated about these resources that we've created. Focus on the value, not just the features. So what we covered, like all of these things, can basically help you build the case in terms of why this upgrade matters. And usually the upgrade matters not just for one person or two people, like for developer, for marketer. It matters to probably a bunch of people in the organization, web editors, website developers, like front-end developers, marketing operations, even sales in some cases. So I'm just giving examples of the people who depend in our company progress on these upgrades for everything to be latest and greatest. Emphasize the ROI. Address the risks, like we covered the risks in the beginning because these are very important. But yeah, so that's important as part of your business case. Highlight the new capabilities and enhancements. You have access to these presentations. You basically do a run through what we covered. Tie the capabilities to business outcomes. The AI example, how much more faster you can be, your content editors can be with these new features. We've just come to like the last couple of slides, how to plan this thing. And there are really three simple things we just wanted to ask you to do today so that we can help you, so that our team can get in touch with you. First of all, reach out to your partner or Sitefinity account manager for expert upgrade support. So all of our partners are aware of this tooling, of the resources, and how they can help you streamline your upgrade. So you should reach out to them or to your account manager. If you don't have a partner, we can help you find one or just get you some help through our team. There is a QR code that you can scan later in the recording. We have a little sweetener for you, especially the ones of you who are interested to go beyond 15.2. So there is an upgrade service that our team has put together for everyone who is on version 13.3 or lower, non-LTS versions, to basically upgrade to version 15.2 in a seamless way, and then with a complimentary upgrade to 15.4 when it comes out later in the year. So if you want to take advantage from this upgrade service, you can reach out to us and we can help you with that. And then what's important here is that as part of this service, we will also do a free, at no charge, analysis and estimate of your of your scope. So usually that is a paid for service, but in this case, as we wanted to package this offering, you can take advantage from a free consultation on like what the scope is and how much, what is basically how much it will cost you to upgrade. Maybe already covered that, but make sure to download the Sitefinity CLI and the migration assistance tool. There is a QR code, but we'll also follow up with the links. And then really the third thing we wanted to just reiterate on is for you to explore Sitefinity Cloud, because this is the magic button going forward that will help you help you streamline the upgrades, future-proof your Sitefinity project, and set you up for future success simply, because it's a lot easier when you can focus on other more important things than just dealing with those upgrade complexities that we are talking about today. And that's all I had. We really have 1-2 minutes for questions, but I think it's worth taking one or two.
So there were lots and lots of questions. The team answered most of them in the chat. So I think folks who are asking got their answers. There are at least 3 I wanted to kind of rebroadcast for the entire audience, because I thought they were the most important, and because they touched on significant areas of functionality. Number 1, from Azalea. I understand that the latest version does not support the Sitefinity e-commerce. Why? And do you have anything coming down the pike to fulfill that without going outside of Sitefinity? It is a critical question. Yes, we discontinued our native e-commerce with Sitefinity 14. So past that, it's not available. There were multiple reasons for it, including the level of investment we needed to sustain to keep upgrading that. E-commerce is a very competitive field, so we chose to go the partner route. So effectively, yes, you would want to go outside of Sitefinity to fulfill the e-commerce needs. We have been reselling e-commerce for Sitefinity that's compatible with versions 14 and 15. They've also upgraded to a new stack as we are in transition to. So at least that option is available if you are in a somewhat older version. We have a great partner for B2B commerce called Znode. They are an American company. They target mid and lower enterprise markets, so they are a great match for us. If you want more details on that, if that fits your profile, they will be very much worth your consideration. And we are looking at other partners as well to develop integrations with. From Damien, was the site search with facets on that slide, there was a slide about search, referring to the search in the backend CMS or search your site's content? Or related to the search widget placed on the pages. It was about the front-end search, as we call it. That's what you will expose to your end users, the visitors, to facilitate their experience with the site. We had, as the team said, a lot of improvements, specifically around Azure Search and Elastic, to introduce facets, boosting search scoring, personalization, and so forth. So for these most widely used search engines, we actually have quite good integration with Sitefinity. And then finally, the third question from Vivek, how does Sitefinity Gen AI work under the hood? Are you integrating with existing service providers? Could you point us to technical details, documentation around this? It's a very important area for us to invest. We started in 2023 with Sitefinity 15.0. The functionality that we are covering with Gen AI keeps expanding. The initial release was based on bringing your own license key, so you would need to have a license agreement with Microsoft. We support OpenAI and Azure OpenAI, specifically Azure OpenAI for the added security and data privacy that Microsoft provides. And we're just about to release, it's been baked and just waiting in the pipeline, packaged AI services that are based on Azure AI, and they will give you direct access without a need to go to an outside vendor to Gen AI functionality provided by Azure OpenAI. So stay tuned for that announcement. And I also want to kind of pre-announce an AI-focused webinar that's coming your way in April. I think the date is yet to be finalized, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it already is, but I'm sure you will get communication about that, and we certainly would like to see you on that webinar because it's a very exciting topic for everybody, for vendors, for practitioners, and for us as individuals as well.
Also, Sitefinity 15.3 is coming, and it also has some exciting AI updates. So we will keep our promise that Sitefinity AI will expand with every release. So keep an eye also for Sitefinity 15.3. And I think that's all we had for today.
Bye, everybody.